Did you know that there's something that you can do right now, today, to protect your assets? Stay tuned to learn about the easiest financial tip that I have for you that you can do right now. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Shantae Moore, certified financial educator. So happy to have you back for another topic that I'm really excited to talk about, which is adding a beneficiary to any of your financial accounts. You know, in my line of work, I work with hundreds of clients, one-on-one, helping them with their financial planning, investing, all these good things. And a lot of times, a lot of people have this big idea that, oh, I need a lot of money to do these things. That's not true at all. You, as the average consumer, the average American, the 99.9% of us, you have things that you can do right now, right away. And this is actually one of the easiest tips that I tell folks when I first meet with them when it comes to their financial situation, which is to add a beneficiary to any of your current financial accounts. Okay, so what is a beneficiary? A beneficiary is someone that you designate. It could be a person or persons, a group of people. It could be an entity like a church or a trust or a nonprofit, where you designate those things, those people or those entities, to receive the value of your assets at the time of your passing. So for example, you can have a bank account. A lot of folks don't know. You can likely ask your financial institution that you bank with if you can add a beneficiary designation to your bank account. Because let's say you have $200 in it at the time of your passing, unless you don't have if you don't have a beneficiary named on that bank account, no one will be able to get access to it. Well, at least not right away. There's a complicated process, but I'm not talking about that in this video. However, if you had a beneficiary, that $200 would transfer on directly to those people, that person again, or that entity. So you can do this again, as mentioned, for bank accounts, investment accounts. Obviously, when you have life insurance policies, they always ask you who to name as a beneficiary. Your retirement accounts at work, like your 401k, you should be able to name a beneficiary for that account. If you have individual retirement accounts, IRAs, you should have a beneficiary name for that. Some of these accounts, when you open them, they do ask for the beneficiary information automatically. Others do not. For example, I've seen in my experience where financial institutions don't automatically ask about beneficiaries. That would be like a banking account. And just contact your bank and say, hey, I would like to add a beneficiary to these accounts. Most financial institutions do allow it. Sometimes you can go online into your web access and add them yourself directly. Sometimes they might have to have you fill out a form to add a beneficiary designation. Another title for this is also called transfer on death. So it'd be like a TOD account. Now, why would somebody want us to name a beneficiary? Well, because again, at the time of your death, that money goes directly to whoever and whatever you name as your beneficiary. There's no questions about it. There's no challenges in court. There's no probate. It's nobody's business. As long as your beneficiary contacts that financial institution or insurance company or investment company and say, hey, I know that such and such has passed away. I know that I'm the beneficiary. And then they'll be able to file a claim directly with that company to receive the value of those assets. So that makes so one thing that does says is that you shouldn't let people know that they are the beneficiaries of any of your particular accounts. Now, who can be beneficiaries? It can really be anyone. It could be your spouse, your siblings, your children, your friend. Again, it could be a church, a nonprofit, maybe your tribal nation, whoever. It's your choice because guess what? It's your money. You get to decide what happens to it after you pass away. But one thing I do want to make it very clear so that you are aware of, if you start thinking about people who you want to name as a beneficiary, just understand that they get a check to them for whatever the value of that asset is. And it is completely their choice to do whatever they want with that money. They have no legal obligation to do anything else regarding your wishes. So for example, let's say you have children, but you name your best friend to be the beneficiary of your account, and you tell your best friend, you know what, if something happens to me, you're my best friend. I know you'll take care of my kids. That's all good, and that's good, right? We hope that that's the case. But technically, your best friend has no legal obligation to do anything with that money as far as taking care of your children once you're gone, because they were the beneficiary. It's their money. They can do whatever they want with that. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about beneficiary designations. It doesn't necessarily flow through to wishes. Like, what do I want you to do with this money once you receive it? Another thing to understand is that while adding a beneficiary to all of your financial accounts is a good idea, beneficiaries only work best if people die in the order that they should. And not to be too gravely here, but it's a reality. So let's go through a quick example of what I mean. So let's say you are a grandparent, right? And you're like, you know what? I want to name my adult children as the beneficiaries on my accounts. They split it equally. Everybody should be happy if I pass away. However, that idea is with the premise that you pass away first, and then your children are all alive, and then they would all receive the money. But what if your children pass away before you? What if you have multiple children and one of them pass away? So there could be very different scenarios about how that money can get split up, because obviously if your beneficiaries have predeceased you, you want to update your beneficiaries right away. And I think that's another tip that a lot of people often forget, is to go back and review your beneficiaries, because things have changed. You might have your spouse or ex-spouse listed and you're no longer married. If you pass away, your ex-spouse has every right to claim that money, not your new spouse, your ex-spouse, because guess what? They were the beneficiary. Their information was listed on the paperwork. So again, yes, it's a quick tip right now, something you can do, but there are so many more factors beyond it. So when I work with my clients, I obviously have a greater estate planning conversation with them. This is where we talk about, do they need a trust? Do they need a will? Or is a will enough? Should they have power of attorneys established? Because those are the legal documents that you should create, where you can actually put your wishes in writing, and it goes beyond just the transfer of a dollar amount of assets to any specific person or people. Even though I'm a financial advisor, I'm not an estate planning attorney. And again, don't take it as any type of advice. I want to have this conversation with you, or if you just wanted to think through some things, you can schedule a 30-minute phone consultation with me at bit.ly/question for Shantae. All right, now I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.